It will.
Yeah, of course. No.
Okay.
Okay.
Ladies and gentlemen, I have the pleasure again to meet my friend Osher, who doesn't need to be introduced. Osher is known financial astrologer, good friend from Israel. Osher, I invited you today to speak, to hear your expertise on the finances, the financial future of the world. Just like that. Generally, you tell me how you see the crypto developing in the next, let's say, 5-10 years, how you see the finances of the world, how you see this electronic, or how you say, the unified financial system. Just tell me your expertise. Of course, you look at this mundane astrological question from tropical astrology perspective, and it works for you because you have your own method. We place links to your channel under our video. I look at this from sidereal astrology perspective. So from sidereal astrology perspective, Saturn entered Aquarius on 23rd of January of 2023, and he started his changes, Aquarius-like changes. For you, this looks differently. Tell me how you see the whole situation astrologically.
Hello, Krasi. First of all, how are you doing? So good to see you. It's very hot in where you are. You are in Bulgaria, no?
40 degrees in Bulgaria, Mars invisible in Leo, and Mercury in Leo, as you said. Yeah.
Wow. Oh my goodness. You see, so I went exactly to the opposite direction. I like to go in the opposite direction in the rhythm, and I'm in the other side of the world in Buenos Aires, and it's freezing. It's the exact opposite of here. July is like Capricorn energy. So I decided to complete the last opportunity of Capricorn field to come to Buenos Aires to close here a phase when Pluto is in the last degree of Capricorn. And let's see how it's going to benefit what I do. But yeah, how are you feeling there in Bulgaria for the last days or the last months? No protest in your area, nothing of this regard?
Well, of course, see, we are also affected by the this matrix affliction changes. If you look 30 years ago, when Saturn was in Aquarius, the world went through again changes of the status quo of the matrix. You can recall, I mean, many people can recall how many things changed 30 years ago. And now, unfortunately, we're living again in interesting times. Like the Chinese say, I don't wish you to live in interesting times. Also here on the Balkans, in Bulgaria, unfortunately. Yeah. But
30 years ago,
the things are very different from Europe.
Really? Very, yeah. I'm very curious, really. How was it in 91, 94 in the Balkans? Because this was the beginning of
democracy. Unfortunately,
the communism was better. The Soviet Union was better.
The communism, it was far better. People really had families, like people would have more collective life, really collectivism. Then they imposed the so-called democracy on the Eastern Bloc, on Eastern countries, which happened exactly when we said 30 years ago, with the fall of the Berlin Wall, and all these people can research. It's very interesting what happened with Saturn in Aquarius, and before that Saturn in Capricorn. And they imposed this so-called democracy, which is so not for the Balkans, so it was meant to exhaust, the resources and the energy of the Balkanic Eastern European countries. And now it's happening again. So we really live in interesting times. And unfortunately, we're experiencing changes which not all of them are benevolent for the people. Like the changes of the financial system of the world, and this unification of the finances, which bothers me a little bit. And you tell me, Osher, we will say about Argentina first, where you are now. Do you feel also this change coming? Because this is just on the opposite part of the world. Do you really see the
Yes,
same happening?
this is very interesting question. Indeed, I see, you know, now $1, Argentina has a very difficult economy already for a long time. The currency is devaluated against the dollar in a very exaggerated level. As recording this now, $1 is equal to 550 peso. This is July 2023. People are feeling that the money is buying less. Every day, the price of products and restaurants is rising a bit more to adjust with this change. People are feeling, to just the little voices that I'm hearing, even that I consider to be in a good neighborhood, so where people still get income in dollars and compensating on the deflation of their currency. But I feel very depressive vibration around me. If I felt something of this in 2020 when I just arrived in January before the pandemic started, I feel that people are sort of get away. They are sort of like seeing this like collapsing. But Argentina had many times of this sort of events, and 2001 is another indication with Saturn opposed Pluto that it was the Corralito effect, that people had amount of money in dollars or in peso, and suddenly one day they came to see their bank account and the amount divided for 4, because 1 peso was equal for $1, and in one day it was 4 peso for $1, and this was a real shock. People lost a lot of money. And since then, Argentina in the last 20 years passed a lot of upheavals, mostly downheavals. Usually when the world is suffering in the West, suffering from difficulties, including the Second World War, it was the time that Argentina received the immigrants and the opportunities that is interesting to contemplate on. Yeah, I feel here that people are sad. This is my objective or subjective feeling. It's somehow affecting me. I don't like very much being surrounding in so matrix city. I think I feel this also recently in most places that I see more city of millions of people congested in the same time. Luckily, I'm living in 4 days. But yeah, this is another topic. Maybe it will connect other later to discuss. But there are so many, awful places already. You know, I'm traveling a lot. I saw a lot of places in the last 3 years, and seeing also the changes through the COVID, what happened. Yeah, once you start seeing yourself in places that are less urban, being in a city feels very, very toxic. Like once you stop eating sugar, you cannot anymore support the sugar, or when you stop eating milk, it's like you see how it's bothering you, you know. Exactly. So you start to feel how better your fields are feeling in and more open space areas. And yeah, I'm excited for what is coming, because the first time I was ever visiting Argentina was in 2009, the year that Bitcoin born. And actually it was July. Yeah, interestingly enough, it is again like January. And the second time it was 2020. It's all very Capricornian thing, symbolism for me with Argentina somehow. And 2009, it started a bubble of what we become very familiar with, all their social networks and social and the smartphones, and the Bitcoin is born in this time, of course, and the real estate bubble that started to build up very sharply until young generation really cannot see themselves anymore fitting to this size of prices. So we are very much on the peak, on the verge of a very big change in all those regards, economically,
And tell me, why are
financially.
you excited? I am a bit worried. You are excited. Tell me, please, why are you excited? Give me
Yeah,
the good feeling you have.
yeah, because this is the end, in a way, of a very restrictive system that the few have the most, that it's like the pyramid concept, the hierarchy in a very sophisticated way to restrict the majority and to benefit just very few group of people. And because this is so much karma coming with this Capricorn phase that we had in the last 15 years with Pluto passing on this sign, and the culmination of this that we saw in 2020, that Saturn Pluto met, and then everybody could understand or believe to what some crazy of us were saying in the previous decade to it, is the moment that all this beneficiary system that benefited the few is going to end. Because as so-called, in Pluto in Aquarius, the power gradually, it will take 20 years, but coming back to people. So it's about start using those technologies and those aspects that how the oligarchy, the rich people, the elite was using the benefits of art, of their own banking system and exchange, and to restrict people from having accounts from here and there, and to divide some countries that will not have access for the Western economy, to limit even the crowd who can have dollars, who will not, and how to purchase the dollar, and creating wars and creating so much combination that discriminated not just the middle class as we are speaking from Bulgaria, Israel, the United States, Canada. Those are millions of people living in India, in Africa, in South of Asia that are living in different standards. They found their way around, but it's not a fair game that even by considering ourselves part of the elite, because the majority of the world population are in a very different category. And now it feels maybe they have more contact with nature and with natural food, but we know that science is also an advancement, and that how the Spanish conquered the Indians in South America that were so much in the beautiful nature. But when the Spanish came with their own weapon and knowledge, and they saw all those Indians like very primitive, what do you know? So they brought their own science and culture and could conquer and kill them in a very sophisticated way, because it's easier to kill with gun or with radio or with biotechnology one than killing with knife or with stone as before. It's advantage of technology.
Oh yes, oh yes.
So the more you have advantages, before the elite, the oligarchy, the oligarchy,
Oligarchy,
how to
yes,
say,
yes. Oligarchy.
oligarchy
Yes.
used to have the money to send the children to the best school, to get education, to start, and then they could be the, like the matures, and so to find better position in life. But now the education system is even collapsing, and we all saw how it's possible to be without schools in the pandemic time when Saturn Pluto met. And because internet, the technology, having a mobile today is not a luxury, is a tool, is importance, because through this device, you can connect to information, to knowledge, to money, to abilities to create. Now, it's always a verge how you will not use a thing that will kill you, because anything that is good in life, if you will use it too much, it could be very bad. So you need to find the way to use the technology to your favor, to have the good life that combined with your natural being and with the nature way of you.
Wait, excuse me. It's important to interrupt you here. All you're saying is very beautiful, but we have the other concern with Saturn in Aquarius, and this is the control of the collective, because they can establish through this new unified financial system, they can really control every penny you make. Tell me, how
It's
do you see
correct.
solution for that?
It's correct. First of all, it will be too naive to think that we can find solution, like Hitler said, the final solution. This is no final solution to
No.
anything in life. You just can optimize a solution. Like even someone will go to a doctor, he could solve your issue with the blood pressure, but it will not solve the issue, or maybe will worse the situation of your ability to see or to hear. I don't know. So anytime we are trying to find solution for one thing, we are somehow need to compensate on another thing. Of course, even nature, when you have such a heat wave in Europe, here is a cold wave. So the life is always yin and yang and compensating, and how we can dance on those balance to be the birds that can navigate between the stream and not to be stuck to a place that you want all the time to be here. Well, and what we are doing to do this, we stop the sun. We are imitating to have watermelon in the winter, and you will do things that become unnatural, and unnatural creates sickness and more things. So how we allow ourselves to flow with the rules of nature? Well, you're right that this is another agenda, because the more solutions and investment are coming, this is going to be a challenges. But if you are seeing them first, you could prepare for this too, and to behave like you were the government to take such decision. If government can decide at any moment to control people data, so if you will learn to control your data, or how to use data for your own favor, for your own work, maybe you will also will get a good benefits, because this technology is going to be thrown to a lot of people. Some people will not have the money or the understanding of the importance to invest money in what, and will remain behind and just will follow agendas. Because, you know, sometimes I'm walking in the street in different places and I see so many, you know, in gross way to say, stupid people. People that are, you hear the way, the consciousness, the vocabulary, the low vocabulary, the destruction of the very mundane lifestyle. They have no space to develop culture, to study. They are just making around, just living the day. The children, those people should be managed. How you could let those women, this men with so much thing that is just barely, you know, to manage data, or to learn some crypto, you cannot. So consciousness is key here. The more you learn to dominate technology and to use it to your benefit, you will be less under this repression, this control. Now, it's also about knowledge that what is outside of my zone of living. If you are living in the Netherlands and you are used to different cost of living, and you know, like, try to see how you fit in another place. This is also discovering the opportunities that can compensate. But yeah, it takes me a little bit to, you know, like buying more for less because of the falling currencies. As we will go forward in the next years, I see a major paradigm shift in economy that it's mostly going to the CBDC from one hand, one currency for the world, or agreement is maybe also like a WhatsApp coin, as millions of people are using WhatsApp. So once everybody are using the same thing, it's so easy to communicate. It's like the WeChat of China, that they are sending money to each other through this chat. That's what Elon Musk is trying now to bring. And just this week, with beautiful alignment of Leo season, Venus moment to retrograde, with Mars and Mercury, is changing the name of Twitter to X, the company of everything that will be communication, bank, payments, and more things that will be related with space and operating system of things. And it's, of course, will be related with AI, and even no need for internet because we will share so much data. So the big companies are already doing those integration of what the Saturn in Aquarius from Sidereal and in Pisces is doing, preparing for the new era that from my tropical perspective will start officially in 2026, when Saturn and Neptune will be in Aries and Uranus will be in Gemini. So it's completely new era of digitality. We are going to more data exponentially experiences. People are ready from the next year with Pluto in Aquarius will be with a provision of Apple that will just grow. If we used to see people like all the day like da 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 da, or still in the phone, we will see a new phenomenon that will be related to the glasses that will augment the reality. A lot of people will not be interested to interact with the real reality or the pure reality. Like maybe you will not let, sitting alone in home, having nothing. Some people cannot live without TV. Or just let the TV on just to hear something. Or some people will not be able to sit alone without having the computer on or to have any movie in the background or music.
But what is the right choice? You're saying not to, really not to, like, I personally do not like the extreme technology. Just, I think it should be very, just as much as you really need. But what you're saying about really technology on every level.
In every level, we are going to be connected 24/7 through our dreams, through everything. Now, it sounds scary. It sounds very,
yes, it sounds scary.
Very seeky, but to what I'm measuring the planets and seeing its part, this is the end. When we spoke about the Armageddon or the end of the world, this is the end of the world of what we know. I was very emotional in the last 2 months, specifically with my last son return visiting Israel. I actually felt so, and I shared it in different videos in my Instagram, YouTube. It's like you are feeling a goodbye, I feel that we are going to miss. It's like you are missing to your 80s lifestyle, how we played and how the colors, the music, the rhythm. So it's like a phase that is fading down, and we are even will miss it. Sometimes we are even missing to the bad guys when we are changing job and suddenly meetings, because suddenly what considered to be scary wasn't that much. We are going to more data and more digitality. It's part of the evolution because we are changing era to air element. And finally, it will help us to develop part of evolution, our ability to interact beyond space and time. And the Saturn breakdown that is like part of Saturn in Pisces is not just the domino that we are seeing government to fall, because when people get consciousness and can see everything, even that it could manipulate what they see, and you will need to be smart also to ask and to do the research, like people could see beyond the fog of COVID what is going on. But, and always to have alternatives, that is another topic. And now my train of thought went away. Help me to come back to where I stopped.
You were saying about the consciousness, that we have to remain also in a state of consciousness through technology. But how you see consciousness through technology? This worries me, Osher.
Yes,
consciousness through technology.
Yes, you're right. Because first of all, there were many great resets in human evolution. We see amazing structures and placement that people used to live in the world, pyramids and other things that we don't understand with how technology, if they were all primitive until we are here, how they even created those things, how they moved those stones. And so much knowledge was burned. Even the Library of Alexandria that translated to all languages. There's so many knowledge and astrology even is a forgettable knowledge, how everything was connected and everybody understood this. Even beyond, most of the thing that we are studying today is from the ancient knowledge, but it was forgettable. And just the 2000 years ago with the Pisces era, the church was killing people that were trying to help people to connect to other wisdom that is beyond the church. So consciousness is much beyond what people believe now that is good or not, because it was a collective amnesia for so long. And not to speak that the culture of the last 2000 years of alcohol is very, very negative. All the things that are actually making forgetness, like relief of anti-pain, is like we know that is burning the memory and the capacity of the brain. And you know, when people are losing consciousness, that's what happened when people get drunk. Okay, some people, I'm happy, I'm released, and I don't want to remember my worries, but you're also forgetting a lot of other things. But it's like losing consciousness. That's why you are not eligible to drive under alcohol or to do other things. Even sometimes, don't tell me you love me under alcohol, because maybe you will not forget or know what even you say. But it's about remembrance and not about forgetfulness. And this was so much amnesia. And I think that all this technology that people like see the Google revolution since you know, let's call it even the smartphone era. That everyone can Google and to find the answer to many questions, helping people to learn and to be more involved. Even the YouTube that is spreading knowledge, that one astrologer from here, another one, suddenly we can spread the consciousness. The technology is helping us. It's a Mercurian thing, the Gemini concept is helping us to connect and to learn and to grow through this. The higher octave of Gemini is Aquarius. And this is like knowingness. It's like the era of knowledge. As we are coming to be very knowledgeable. Now people are fascinated by the ChatGPT and other AI solution that suddenly out of some idea, broken idea, as the human natural language of the human can write or have the energy to do, not everybody are good writers, can create such a structure of communication that is much easier to transfer. It's like creating a new pod of messaging transferring. Of course, that with this, some companies could track and to learn many things of how people use, and we are actually building up because the machines are continue to learn the human behavior and change and become even more sophisticated. So each will be like, you know, speaking about stopping evolution or being afraid is like someone to convince or to explain, a futurist speaking in the previous century about the cars. As just the cars are starting to, you know, against the horses, people used to move with horses, with a little carriage, you know, and distances were much complicated. You needed to pass longer time to visit from place to place. So oh, it's so dangerous. How people will live in one city in such a huge building, and electricity even was something to think. What is electricity? And cars too. It's dangerous.
I agree. All you say, I agree with. But Osher, also this era or sub-era of you know, Saturn, we're at, you know, in the pre-Aquarius era, but we're talking about the division of humanity. There will be these people which will be very much attracted to technology the way you describe it. I fully agree with you. But there will be this other half which will totally reject technology, which would not like to be really controlled, or not like really to participate in this artificial intelligence scenario. How do you see these two divisions? How do you see these two main groups of people? Do you perceive
Listen,
it this way as I do?
yeah, there are always, you know, you could not create a situation that all people on earth will be healthy. You could not create a situation that all people on earth will be young. You cannot create a situation all people on earth will be wealthy. This is
Sure.
order. This is a place of poor and those that in down and up. Now the question is how you what your choice and your lucky and your karma even to listen to this sort of video. And right now, being poor is born in the non-right place. Someone just born in Southern Asia or in Africa already has his misfortune despite of his genealogy, because he doesn't have the advantages to have anything anymore. It's going to be another standard of to be poor, and is about not taking part in the system. It's a new system of how people connect and interchange ideas. And now poor is all we could also discuss that is not just poor, maybe poor material in a material level, because some people in Africa that we consider them poor, maybe they are the happiest people on earth, and they have their children and their farm, they don't need nothing.
Yeah.
Maybe they are poor if someone of those plan to visit New York, but maybe they even don't need it. But they are happy with where they are.
Sure.
But
it's subjective. It's subjective.
Yeah. So some people will be connected to the abundance of the matrix of the new systems and technology involvement. Some others, to those group that will be very advanced, will be considered the other group that doesn't, that do not participate, are poor, and they maybe both don't want to interact with each other. Maybe few between them would like to interchange placement. But it's going to be a choice of people that will connect. You know, some people rejected even the mobile, the smartphones. They don't want to connect with the world that way. And they somehow managed around. And it's not going to happen everything on the same day. It was like a very crazy, I also spoke about it not once. In COVID, all those people, they took the job, we're all going to die.
Yeah.
And we are all going to die anyhow. Yeah, but this is, it was a fear of death. So we all spoke, no, it's always so extreme. So you need to take, if people were afraid to die, so they took this. But we are saying that, no, don't take it, they will die because of this, not because of other. But this is superior power of life that even that right now when Pluto, as we are speaking, Pluto is squaring the nodes. It's like creating a death, and not all death that Pluto is ruling transformation and change. And the fear of change is the change of death, by like the death card in Tarot, that is the end of a phase. And we are so much afraid to lose form. Because if I will tell you that in 1 year, you will be living with a new family, you will have another children, what you will understand? No, you need to kill me for this to happen. But
Yeah.
because if we will born again to a new reality, we will accept this. But sometimes we can die through lifetime. And suddenly to change the reality that looks like we were dying and rebirth on the same time and changing the entire reality. And this is what is something of this description that is happening in the last 2 years to us, and specifically now, that the changes are happening in so many deep levels, what Pluto interact, but mostly happening inside of the political structures. And we are seeing this now arriving to a peak in many countries around the world that for the last years were blamed and seeing publicly the amount of corruption. Because all this blockchain revolution, AI technology, going also to expose in a way everybody, meaning that if you are a human part of a system, you need to scan also your your own iris in a way. And we will need to find a fair way as possible to restructure a society to make sure that people are acting correctly. But of course, every time that we're solving something, it will rise another challenge. And I just received from one member of the community a very interesting link about a movie from 2001 with Tom Cruise, Minority Report, I think it's called, that people were arrested. Yeah, people were arrested before even admitting a crime, just by the thought. Imagine it will be
I remember.
Imagine that it's going to be a technology that the blockchain of the AI, because it's going to be a lot of AI tools and coins, that are just feel if they are detecting a pattern. You call to this person, you did this, and in this velocity you did this, you probably answering to the same pattern of someone that terminated doing a crime. So before you even like the same predictive tool that the machine could offer you pre your request, the thing that you want, just because of analyzing your pattern moment before you really ask the thing. It's already, if you already went to Zara, you bought the t-shirt, and you already took a taxi, you're probably going to a wedding, so already the wedding, I don't know. So it's like,
sure, but this takes away your free will. This is a bit extreme.
Yes, this movie, it was really against the free will. But listen, it's very interesting because it's something that's going to be investigated for the evolution in the next 10 years, because Saturn and Neptune are going to be in Aries, in the free will sign. So it's like also going to be one of those methods that the prediction can be too advanced, like that we will need to fight on our free will. It will be like a time of manifest and creating your free will, and to challenge, and we will need to be smarter and wiser than the artificial intelligence. Because
that's the point.
That's the point. So it's growing, and all those challenges are sort of a muscle training to go against the barriers. Every time there is a barrier as a human being that we should consider to be, it will force us to use a higher brain capacities, and it will help to consciousness. So you see, now they're watching me from this way. So we will learn very quick to invent a new language. I will speak to you, Krasi. You will know what I want to say. So the machine will not get us, and
people
we will start
people do already, yeah.
But it will go to another level of the codation. Sure. It will create, and this is the Uranus in Gemini, it will create multiple new languages that we will need to go beyond the machine interpretation to keep our free will. Some people will not understand. It always will be a group that will go first before others. But in the end of the day, the ability for us to connect with soulmates that we all at the beginning, if we will use the phone, and how I found you, thanks to this communication, we're going to find more of each other. The people that are living in very little places, that suddenly we are feeling best friend without even need to travel. Travels is going to change a lot, because the need of travel in a physical level limit and with all its cost will not be able to compete with the ability to communicate with another being in other side of the world. We are going to overcome the limit of space and time. So this is the exciting side of this. The restrictive period that we had and what we finished in the last 15 years was to benefit the government, the elite, all those that are close to the money. And we are seeing all those mega unicorns that suddenly created in the last years. That is a very high value of companies. And now, it's also about using those technologies to our favor and creating new communities and new social structure based on all those creators. It's going to be a gradual shift of powers. So speaking about crypto born in 2009, in January 2009, but probably was already discussed or written as the white paper in 2008, which is the Pluto ingressing to Capricorn. Now, as we are speaking, Pluto is in the last degrees of Capricorn and is going to end this by the end of this year. So this is indicating a very important phase to be ended. And a lot of karma that is not just of what we did in this life, is something of the trunk of what our ancestors did, and some of us are seeing its symptom beyond. A lot of things that were related to relationships and real estate, karmic lessons were happening in the last 15 years. Personally, I experienced it big time. My last serious relationship that I experienced sort of a divorce was in 2008, and I never came back to have such intimacy or to live, because I needed to explore, and I become officially the nomad. And I also sold my apartment. I had apartment before everyone else. Somehow I didn't like to have apartment. Interest rate was relatively high. I preferred to sell and to get interest from the bank. I thought that I may be freer without apartment. Apartment wasn't very expensive until 2008 in Israel, at least. It was just a cost, like everything has its cost, but it was just, a place to live. It's not investment.
No.
And I sold, and it took a few years that I started to lose all of this money through travel and investing in stock market, what brought me to be what I'm doing today with knowing this world of finances. But this was the Pluto in Capricorn. And of course, Bitcoin born in 2009. I just heard about it first time in 2013. I thought that is a joke. A friend told me it was just one Bitcoin costed in 2013, $200, $300. He told me, just buy two. Forget about it. It's less than $1,000. Just buy two and keep it. You will buy a house. You will see in one Bitcoin. I said, what you are telling? I bought indeed, but I spent it. I just wanted to see that it is eligible. It's really useful. I came back with a very little amount in 2017 and started to speak about it. Once I really was broke, all my money disappeared. I, for the first time, entered to be on loan. And I decided I'm going to do my YouTube channel. If not me, I understood it like a karma, and I felt it like a very deep message inside me. Help others not to come back on the mistakes that you have done. You had karma with money. I understand that I need less. I didn't need probably all this money, or the money that most of this I received from my father that worked hard. So actually, it wasn't the money that I needed to build on my life stability. I left very good jobs as well before this, and started to find my way around by being a therapist and very much adapting to the spiritual principles. And my philosophy from starting the Patreon, and it's like, okay, just help me, support me a little bit so I can breathe. And I was living in cheap places in north of Spain, when Spain relatively was cheap. And I said, I'm committed to help others to do money and also to start spreading the word about Bitcoin. I was giving myself tips of like very, very little, like few euros, and buying crypto and back then in 2017 as a concept. So Bitcoin born with Pluto in the first degree of Capricorn, with Jupiter in the last degree of Capricorn. So the last degrees of Capricorn is where the Pluto of the United States. So meaning that when Bitcoin born, it was Jupiter conjuncting the Pluto of the United States, which is exactly the idea of it, that let's break the Fed centralization concept, but going on the one deep fundamental of freedom that the US Revolution led for in 1775. And this was Jupiter on there. Now Pluto is there, it's the Pluto return. So in other words, it's Pluto conjuncting the Jupiter of Bitcoin for the last months. And this is by itself, and what we are getting, BlackRock, the biggest investor, holding company with trillions of dollars, recognizing Bitcoin, calling it to be international currency and digital gold, and having the potency to impact this world. So we don't need to wait that people will recognize it and will start using it. Simply that BlackRock will start manipulating the price or connecting to the price or save the US dollar with the Bitcoin concept. And it will affect already the people pensions and all the rest things that they are having. So in a way, all the measurement of Bitcoin compared to dollar is very shady by itself. People could feel millionaires, people from Venezuela or from Argentina that invested in Bitcoin, not just that protected themselves from the fall of their own currency, but also against the dollar, because Bitcoin was in 2009, few cents, and it arrived to its peak of 70,000. So it was the best investment more than any real estate called thing. Sure. Of course, people that born in the very early stage changed computers, didn't have all the tools how to keep the things. Many people lost the computer with the Bitcoin, didn't know. Of course, it was another thing. That's why it was cheap also. When you buy something expensive, it's probably worth it because it's all the technology are ready to have it for a long time. So in a way, I see like a maturement of Bitcoin. Bitcoin brought the humanity in the last 15 years to the concept of cashless society. What was the enthusiasm and the talk of how society can become without cash, and seeing the price relatively going high was very unique. And most of young people went with this. A lot of people in the old generation saw it like a scam. But now everybody are seeing that we are already using money as the digital currency. People almost not touching money. In Argentina, yes. In Argentina, it's all about money, a lot in my pocket, a lot. And I just converted today $100 and I got 50,000 peso. That is amazing. I'm not using a credit card because it will charge me double. So just cash. So I prefer to be in this time in a place that still you have they created a new parallel currency that is called a blue dollar, because if I pay here with a bank, with a credit card, it will charge me double than what I can get for one paper of dollar. So yeah, and today I just went to another exchange and they told me that they also accept Bitcoin. So also you show an example that having another asset on your phone you can send, and it's like it still will give you the benefit of what is it. So the Argentinians themselves.
Finish. I have a question. Please say it, then I have a question for you.
No. The Argentinians already understood even very little places, stores will give you a receipt. It's all about between us. Like the declaration and all the things, they're already knowing it. That is all corrupt. They are using money because we need to have money. We need to exchange something, and they need to buy with it something. But it's like collaborating with this with the government as minimum as possible.
But Osher, then such countries, hearing what you say about Argentina, a very good example, then this system cannot operate just in every country. In Africa, Argentina, this will not be as unified as they want to. This will happen only what they call the civilized world, like Europe, America. This just cannot take place everywhere. Also, astrologically, of course, we do not have time to look just at every country's horoscopes. But if we do, we will see that this cannot take place in just every country.
Yeah. So one of the things that will happen as above, so below is about like we spoke about unicorns, big companies that are managing big amount of people or data. At the same time, it's about communities. So it's communities of individuals that are forming together, because I started speaking about it already from 2021. Is not taking any more time to work alone. I'm still waiting for my team to appear. But this is going to be also countries, the communities of countries that will create blocks and blocks, and the way that country alone without diplomatic relationship, but not just diplomatic, it should be collaboration, will be very challenging. Now, I see very positive thing about Paraguay that become recently, I become officially a resident in Paraguay. Yeah,
very
it's
good.
Central American country. That used to be a very strong potency in the South America. They had the first train in South America, and the envy of Brazil and Argentina to see a small country that actually very much preached for self-sovereignty and not importing nothing, grew a lot. And finally, it was the Great War between the three countries. Argentina and Brazil attacked Paraguay and killed. It was the Holocaust of Paraguay. But the interesting thing is that both Israel and Paraguay born in the same day. Wow. So look
what a
how
coincidence.
coincidence and hundreds of
Forget
years
no
difference.
coincidences. Yeah.
So now both, with all the changes that I'm seeing in Israel, Uranus is on the sun of both Paraguay and Israel. So it's not just Uranus, because they are Taurus. They're born both in 14th of May. So it's not that just Uranus there. It's going to be Jupiter and Uranus conjunction already next year. So it's all about allies and new bloc. So Paraguay just finished the agreement with Itapu. I did another video about it in last January. That is a river that generates energy, hydroelectric machine. It is amount for free electricity for Brazil. A big part of Brazil is using it, but anyhow, the agreement and the payment is already off. So now Paraguay is going to start earning a lot of money and will have good time for investment. The culture there is very interesting by itself, because they are still living on very interesting values of herbs and using the wisdom of herbs.
Oh, wonderful.
And people are so beautiful inside. I don't know, I'm just in love in the mentality and the way of the Paraguayan people. But in Israel, now it's a big turnaround, because it's a lot of because. I have a lot of criticize about the state of Israel, but it's not just Israel that born in 48. It's also it was Saturn Pluto years. Yeah, it was Saturn Pluto in Leo. What actually we have now, and Pluto that is entering to Aquarius is going to oppose all this new war. The CCP born in 47. Jordan and Israel, Pakistan and India. It was the first Brexit of England out of the Middle East. So we are going to see a major change in all those countries. And now in Israel, this is not just that everything is in construction, like it's a positive thing. This is a metro in Tel Aviv that is building up, but it's like you feel that this is the Torah thing. It's like building, like and expanding the roads, like it's going to be another sort of center. It never was like this. But what I'm speaking is that Israel is preparing for a new Middle East. And the concept of Israel should change, because this is the only way around. And after August 2020, that Israel agreed on a peace agreement with Dubai. Now the next level is is with Saudi. And Saudi is it's the core of the Islam world.
Oh, yeah.
If Saudi recognize Israel, and so far Saudi is contributing a lot of money for the Palestinians in Gaza, that some also are saying that they used a lot of the money for creating bunkers and creating a lot of things that no one wants really to bother with what actually is going on. So much conflicting and things beneath the surface, including the position of Iran that the United States is afraid to attack, not likely as they did in the past in Iraq and Kuwait. There are so much things beneath the surface. This is the Pluto square in the notes. This is so much status quo that you cannot maintain, but it's going to be, or that we are going to destruct ourselves. There are also a lot of biological weapon in Ukraine, in Russia. There are so much things in the United States, having other place. And the earth is changing. There are so much changes beneath. We will need to arrive to a sort of agreement because it's going to be lose-lose or win-win. So it's going to be a new block. And what I'm seeing this is that the Middle East in the next years, in the next decade, together with the technology and the involvement of technology and less attachment to earth, because all the concept in the world, it's about promised land. It's about connection to earth and to kill for the earth. And as we are moving to air, it's like something of people. It's like, let's love, let's connect, let's use, I remember, you could be, the landline, you would never be able to call from Israel to Iraqi guy or girl, or, but if you use Skype, or you will use another of this, of course you can connect with them on the same internet with, even for Zoom calls.
Osher, what you say, that there will be communities, this is also from the Sidereal perspective, this is the Saturn in Aquarius, which is exactly communities, Saturn is ruling this, but the question is then, we're speaking about this Aquarius-like types of communities. This doesn't necessarily mean that they will implement the cashless society separately in all these communities, right? This doesn't necessarily mean. Could be that the Aquarius energy manifests in different ways, because the second way is that people really turn towards nature, communities of people living in a very natural way. This is also Aquarius.
Yeah, but it's not this way. It's not, I don't see a word communism. The word communism is when people don't know their choices. That, okay, I have Facebook, so everybody, I will use Facebook. And then you don't know your choice, so you are following what it is. But when you have a bargain, when you have another currency, when someone is telling you will not be able to withdraw until this amount of money, but this is Bitcoin, and with Bitcoin you still, it's like the landline. As I told you, I cannot call you directly from enemy country, in a way, enemy country politically, but if I use the internet, I do use. So if you use, you will never be able to send money from Israel to Jordanian guy or girl, but you will be able to send Bitcoin directly. So it's, or not Bitcoin, any cryptocurrency. So the consciousness of how using the internet to our favor to connect between us is helping us already to break the borders. So we start to create new networks that is dominating the earth, the air element, and then we start to find prosperity, and even to start, many of the services that we are consuming today are air as well. Of course, there's always a place for where to eat and how to get the products, but we need a lot of entertainment and connection and friends and talk. That is, it's a spiritual food in a way. Have someone to talk, someone that you even to listen, even in music, things that we need to consume and to have and to interchange. it's about new blockages. So I'm very optimistic also on the area of South America with Paraguay, Brazil, that Brazil actually is almost free energy completely. I so much believe in what is happening in Brazil. I checked the natal chart of it. I spoke already in the beginning of 2020 that even from the decodation of the Economist portal in Brazil, from Brazil, is going to be the build of the new world. Brazil is very Virgo, yeah, by its character, but it's like the kitchen of the world. Everything is growing there. It's so much fertilized earth. I also see the Brazilian to be the most healthy physically, also mentally in the world.
How about Europe?
They know
How about Europe? Europe,
Europe is going in ascension. Europe is entering to a very challenging timing.
yes,
Of course, because of the weather, and Europe had cycles also of poverty. Now it's in the higher side of the circle, and you know the Pellegrin's time, Europe was very poor, and you know poor because most of the rich or the wealth of the Europe, it's from stolen. They just stole other parts of the world. They don't have they don't
like states.
they stole chocolate, they stole gold, they stole so much culture, you know.
True.
So it's part of a, I don't know,
Karmic cycle.
Yeah, karmic cycle. I think the new blocks of South America, Brazil, Argentina, Paraguay, and the same of the block of Israel with until Saudi is going to be the new promise to even look at, to invent what sort of other concept of businesses. But yeah, this is also will break down the illusion of real estate, because all the real estate bubble came out of a feel of lack that you have less, you know, like this is the best area and everybody want to be close in a very limited area.
But this came naturally astrologically, Osher. This happened when Sidereal Saturn entered Capricorn. This was expected in a way, you know. We knew about that. It was very logical. I mean, and now it's about to expire with Saturn in Aquarius. It's not the case anymore.
New materials as well, folded houses, more even the structure of a family formation is going to change. The form of marriage, the form of, you know, all what's creating the form of society. Of course, it's not something that you're going to say, from next year, everybody will stop. We see this already happening for the last 30 years for all those that born in 82, 83 with the Saturn-Pluto conjunction in the end of Libra, and the AIDS came to the world. Since then, it's become more and more accepted to be a single woman, to be divorced. And this is now going to the next level, that even the gender-wise is not very much defined. And it's like we are changing. And always on planet Earth, it was civilization change, and now we are in the midst of those changes, and the form of money is about to change. And Jupiter and Uranus will meet in April 2024, starting a new cycle since 2009-10. So of course, all the virtual AI is going to be a new belief system, new structure for even how to earn money and what is money. So
let's summarize for people, you know, so that our conversation becomes really what would you advise them really to do with this changes in the financial and economy structure that you see? What you advise them to do for themselves to benefit from this time that is approaching, or already fact actually?
Listen, we are now in a recession. We spoke about it. I remember we spoke when I was in Madeira, in Portugal, it was March
a year ago
2022.
or so. Yeah.
And we spoke twice in last year. We spoke in July, August, and we spoke in March when I was in Madeira. So we expect that 2023 is going to be a recession, and it's indicated by Saturn in Pisces, and it may last for 1.5 years more. What is happening in recession? Recession is not only the prices going down, it's also going sideways. No trade, no, you have no. If things become stagnant, and when things get stagnant, they are losing their energy, anything, and this is a time for imagination, mastering our spiritual quest, practicing more of spiritual strength, of seeing yourself beyond a limit of time. When you are imagining, you are going beyond the limit of reality. Of course, the technology is also helping people to imagine, because they are putting themselves in a new, better reality that is taking them beyond the limit of their body, beyond the absence of someone even that passed or traveled. And this is about embrace technology, start to learn more how to use all those things to animate your life, to start flying with, even from your own limits right now, what you could do to transform. I told my community, most of the time, even with seeing the declines that came in Bitcoin last year, when the axis of the dragons were in Scorpio and Taurus, not to convert back to dollars, because it's going to create a sort of a structure that as everything is going higher, you will finally lose everything. It's about staying in the technology that will help you to connect to the next level technology, because many of banks and the old structures are going to be more restricted from allowing you to purchase the next thing. And the next things are going to give you the advantage, like the weapon. The next technology, you need the money accessibility to buy the next technology, to my opinion. Not just as a device, it's maybe also a software. So many AI concepts right now are not for free. The free is the shit thing that you're going to do nothing with it. So soon, all those projects, and even ChatGPT is valuing $20 a month and other things. But it's like using the power of digital money to purchase things. Maybe now it's only accepting credits, but soon I believe that it will be accepting others. But adapting to technology, investing in technology in a way that you will get the knowledge, you will start creating things. It's very much about imagination and creation. Imagination. This is now the Barbie that came to the movie that becomes very popular. Imagination for creation. This is time for being creator and to create something new, using technology that wasn't possible to do before. Many people could suddenly write novels in different languages, and with a little investment could create even fantasy words to others, and even to start architectures, could start planning the new world with the new tools that are here.
Yes, I can advise people to refer people to your channel when you're speaking more exactly about these things.
Yeah, but also I see a need for immigrating. I see very important part of immigration. I discussed about it. Saturn in Pisces, Neptune in Pisces. Pisces is also ruling for immigrating for far countries. And sometimes you get your benefits and your advantage by going far, even to the countryside, and starting using your mobile or the satellite or with different technology, not just for staying in home and get advantage of this situation, or that everything is like flooded and hyper inflated, and to find options, to find new horizons. This is no reason to live in a big apple right now. If you can do many things online, and to find smaller places. This is my accept. But now I know that some families are looking at things differently, but people sometimes need to see how difficult to arrive really to difficult situation to leave a job, or to leave a place, or to change address. If you just will see the combination of astrology and even by intuition, maybe meditation, to see where we are going, it may, even as a trial, not through a rush, but through exploring new places that usually we didn't think to be attractive to live there or to do. But it's not just to do it alone, like escape. It's also in order to bring people with similar views together. I know it can feel very isolated too, because also in Pisces, Saturn in Pisces is feeling isolation and miserable and dirty. So again, through the technology, through the abstract, to connect with the abstract ability of the structure, the structure of what we have, what we can understand, will help us to connect with the right people. But also it's like to create whatever one has in order to attract, to inspire, to attract like-minded. So people will, we need to show up for people to find us, and to find each other, and to search for more knowledge, and not to fall into the amnesia of just watching movies, or what we called in the COVID time for Netflix and escaping. It's about seeking knowledge, seeking ways to learn how the money works, how the crypto world works, how to live in other places, what's the style, what's the culture in other places, and to find something that is more compatible to you. Let yourself to imagine, if I'm free man in the world, where I would love to live, where I may be happy, what is my style? Maybe I'm more identified with a tribe in Africa. Maybe I'm more identified with a small village in Indonesia that having this little kayak, or maybe I'm more identified with people in Dubai with all these clothes in the heat. And for me, or each one can see himself in something more. Yeah, using this
and
imagination.
Let me add, to remember that you are creator and that you have your free will. We should not give up our free will by no circumstances, no way.
But if you will not imagine what you want to be, this is why Pisces coming, it's the last sign of the zodiac, and then Aries. So the free will is like wake up in the morning, but after a good sleep, after a good dream. So it's first of all, dream what you want to be. What you want to be is to create. And because if you will not do this, it's going to, and you will use the Pisces time like a sleeping time, that you are totally drunk and thrown somewhere. Suddenly you will wake up to the reality you don't want, and you will just need to obey, and it will create a lot of power. But if you will voluntarily will use the Pisces as an awakening, like to continue being awake, like in a sleepy time, like under ayahuasca retreat, in a way, you will continue a sort of inspired to do what the next thing to do, that I'm making my dreams come true. So people need to remember their dreams. and
True.
taking time to dream. And we are so much programmed because so much of our dream are just a replication of what we saw in movies. Yeah, but yeah.
Yes, yes.
When I was a sexual counselor in a tantric way, I was telling people what you would imagine without porn. You know, sometimes people don't know how even to convince themselves. You know, take the porn out and start using your imagination and
Yeah.
creating the exact actor and the exact, and let's see you now. You know, it's like turning your own penis that Mars without the visualization that will program you, because then you're just no, I need to find the right movie in order to get turned on.
Oh no, yeah, yeah.
Same thing.
Indeed. Thank you so much, Osher. I hope this is useful for people, and maybe we can make a second part more practical indeed. When we will name technology, and really we can name more tools that to be useful for everyone.
Yeah, maybe in the Virgo season. Yeah, oh no,
Yeah,
it's
let's do it in the
next month.
we have appointment for the Virgo season.
Yeah, in a month and something, when Mercury
Perfect.
retrograde. When Mercury
Yes,
retrograde in Virgo.
absolutely. Thank you so much, Osher. It was my great pleasure.
My pleasure too, Krasi. Thank you for being there. Okay, I stop recording.
Stop recording.